Hi friends, how are you? I hope this lockdown is serving you well. During this lockdown, I heard a quote and it got me thinking. I would like to share that with you. There was a very simple job that had to be done. And everybody thought it's so simple, anybody can do it. But it was not done. And after some time, when it was still not done, everybody thought somebody will surely do it, but it was still not done. And at the end, nobody did it. Did you get the catch of it? Generally, when it comes to job, our first thing is, it's not my job. I'm not going to do it. It's not my job. Many times, many things in life, we go that way. It's not my job. Why am I supposed to do it? Have you heard this? Or rather, I should ask you, have you seen this? No. Okay, let me show you some examples. Look at these pictures. Does something strike you? The person doing it perhaps was lazy, or took a shortcut, or went in the extra mile, or the person really didn't want to do it. When we look at all these things, we think, the person doing this was so stupid, or he was so funny. Why did he do it in this way? Because it wasn't his job. Actually, it's not my job, is not just a sentence. It is an attitude. It's an attitude of how we think. And during this lockdown, many things are this way that we just think for it. It's not my job. It can start with very simple things at home. We ate food, but cleaning the dishes or taking it off the table, it's not my job. I worked in a place, or perhaps you have studied, and then cleaning up that place, it's not my job. Oh, and one very classic example, during winters, in our places, peanuts. People love to eat peanuts. The peanuts go into our mouth, but where do the skins go? The peels. Putting them in dustbin is not my job. Cleaning the garbage at the home, just putting it out, is not my job. Or for kids, very common thing you'll often hear is, Mommy, I want a dog, I want a fish, I want a bird. I promise you I will take care of it. But after a week, the dog poos or the bird is hungry. Feeding it, it's not my job. It's mommy's job. It's daddy's job. It's my elder sibling's job. It's my younger sibling's job. Whosever job it is, I don't care. It's not my job. We generally go by that attitude. Yes, it may not be your job. Or maybe it was yours. You still don't want to own it. But let me tell you one thing over here. Even if it is not your job, when you do that little thing, when you do that thing which you think is not your job, you are investing in yourself. You are teaching yourself to do something more. You're teaching yourself to work a little more harder. And at the end of the day, what matters the most is, what skill set have you got? What all are the things that you can do? What all are the things you're good at? Managing, taking responsibility, getting things done fast, getting things done efficiently. All these things come when we learn to do our job, or when we learn to do a thing properly. Let me share this very good incident with you. It's a true incident. It happened somewhere in the 18th century. There was a young clerk who was in charge of a hotel, and it was evening, and the weather was stormy, and this very old couple came in and they wanted a room. So this clerk, he checked his registers and all, and unfortunately there was no room. So the clerk apologizes, I'm really sorry sir, ma'am, I'm really sorry, there's no room. And then the clerk realizes outside it's stormy and it started raining. Not wanting to send this couple out into the rain, he says, please wait. And he goes inside. Once he goes inside, he prepares a room and he comes out and he says, there's one room. It is not a very good room, but it's good for you in case you want to spend the night. So the couple, having no choice left, this old couple, they say, okay, thank you. They go and rest in that room. The next day when this old man was checking out, he says, you've been really kind to us. Thank you so much. It would be really good if you could run a very big hotel in the US. And the clerk just smiles. He says, thank you, sir, and all. Time passes by, 2 years go by. And then one day this clerk receives an envelope. In the envelope are tickets, and there's a letter that is asking this young clerk to come to the US. And he goes over there, and then this couple is there to receive him. And they take him to a hotel. They take him to a huge building. And they say that this is the hotel we have built, and we want you to be the manager of it. You see, it wasn't his job. He had done his job. He was a clerk at the hotel. He checked in. There were no rooms. He could have just said, I'm sorry, it's done. I cannot help you. But he went an extra mile. He was thoughtful. He was mindful. And he didn't let them go out in the rain. He was rewarded by being a manager at a bigger hotel. Now you might wonder, saying he was a manager then and he's a manager still. What's the big deal? Well, that clerk was George Bolt, and the hotel that he was given to manage, here are some pictures I would like to share with you. Even in present day time, look at it. It is one of the grandest hotel, Waldorf Astoria. Beautiful hotel, and George was the first manager, and that's where this tradition set in of selfless service. So you see, it was not his job to go the extra mile, but when he went that extra mile, it brought him success. It brought him something really beautiful in his life. It's the same thing. The next time this thought pops in your head, it's not my job. Can you take a moment, quieten yourself, be a little mindful and think, can I go that extra mile? Can I do this good act? Because what you sow is what you reap. It's an eternal principle. Even the Bible tells us it is an eternal principle. Whatever you sow, be it in seed. If I sow wheat, I cannot expect olives to grow out of it. Or if I sow thorn bush, I cannot expect grapes to grow out of it. What I sow, that is what I'll reap. It is a principle of life. Even in our actions, what we sow, what we do, that is what we get back. This is a true incident that I would like to share with you. There was a young boy. He did not have enough to pay for his schooling. So what he would do, he would go around selling small things. And on a particular afternoon, he was exhausted. He was tired and he had no money. He was just left with one dime. And he thinks that, now the next house I go to sell my things, I will just ask them if I can have some food. Because he was really hungry. And he goes and he knocks on a door. And a young girl opens the door. Looking at her, he's a bit shocked and he doesn't know how to ask her for food. So he says, can I have a glass of water, please? And the girl looks at him. She sees he's exhausted, he's tired. She says, yes, sure. She goes in, she gets a glass of water and she hands it. And she says, wait, don't go. She goes in again. She gets a big glass full of milk. And she says, please have this also. The young boy, who was starving and exhausted, he looks at the glass of milk and he says, how much do I pay for this? And the girl says, my mother taught us we never take payment for kindness. The boy is so blessed, he's so happy, he sits down, he savors every drop of that milk that energizes him, and he goes on his way. Many years later, at the hospital, a doctor was passing by the reception and he hears a lot of commotion. And he sees that a patient has been brought in. It's a lady. Learning the name of the village this lady came from, the doctor says, I'll take in the case. And the treatment for that lady was a real battle because she was suffering from a rare disease which was not much known how to treat it. But after a long struggle, the team of doctors were victorious. That battle was won. The lady recovered. And this lady, as she went through this whole treatment, every day the only thought she had was, oh my God, I don't know how will I pay for this. I will have to work my whole life to pay for the bill of this hospital treatment. And the day she was supposed to be discharged, the bill was brought to her. Very scared, she opens the paper and she sees the huge amount. But then she sees at the bottom, near the amount, was something written in pen, signed by the doctor. And it said, paid full with a glass of milk. Kindness goes a long way. You might think, hey, this is a good story, an interesting one. Well, my dear, let me tell you, this is a true incident. The doctor was Howard Kelly. And that doctor, later he went on to set up the gynecological oncology department at Johns Hopkins University. He was the one who had taken that glass of milk and he had helped that lady. So you see, whatever you do, whatever I do, can we sow kindness? Can we sow goodness? Are we willing to go that extra mile? But let me tell you, change starts small. You may not have a young boy knocking at your door or an old couple coming to you for help, but you will have a home and the same duties, the same chores that are listed in the beginning. If you can still clear your plate after you had your meal, if you can still keep your cup in the sink, if you can still clean up the mess that you have made, if you can still be responsible for your little pet that you promised you would, if you can still fill that half-emptied bottle of water in the fridge so that the next person who comes in gets cold water again, taking that little responsibility, just doing the little extra work, going the extra mile, sowing something good, make it a habit. I have a strong reason to say this, that make it your habit, because I want you to see this. If this is our lifeline, our life is going on, and then we take a decision to bring a small change as a habit in our life, you see, in the longer run, it brings a big difference. So my dear friends, the next time you say it's not my job, I want you to pause, think, be a little mindful. Could you go the extra mile? Could you do this? Could you take up the responsibility? Could you sow something good? Because when you do so, you make the world a better place. And not just do you make the world a better place, you make a better place for yourself in the world. Thank you.